So timestamps exist as always in case you just want to skip forward, because we're going to scout in this video because I don't have a separate video planned for here. Unless, oh no, I think I did. Anywho, let's just use the scout ticket here. I need Musume, but then I also am going to do a 10 scout for support cards. But otherwise, I was planning to do a separate, what should I say, a separate series. I need to anyway if I'm trying to do more content. But it's Arima Kinen Urara. It's Arima Kinen Haru Urara. But anywho, as we get a King Halo here. Yeah, that's the only thing I'd probably stack on top. As I've mentioned before, but probably have not mentioned yet in a global server Musume clip, I can juggle about 3 video series / 3 games perfectly fine. That's pushing me a bit, but if I plan to stream as well, that's definitely my capacity. As one person who edits, uploads, renders all of his own videos, and only has about 2 setups, and even only one of those setups is only one of those setups is good for editing and or rendering. I could do it on 2, but the second setup has a bit of a problem with my editing / rendering software. So, yeah, as we get 9 rare cards and 1. So the moral of the story of my account is that I just get a lot of Air Groove, Meisho Dotos, and Nice Nature. I think that's the 3rd Guts card I have. Also, I am regretting that I use pretty much 20 to 30 scouts on other banners, but shrug, I can probably get an extra 10 to 20 scouts. It's just going to be real. For those who don't know, my only copy of Kitasan Black came from the exchange. Period. Now, I'm glad for the support cards I have. I shouldn't be too mad. I mean, it's certainly not the worst scouts in the world as we move into the timestamp, which in this case we're gonna get 10 million fans unless something really strange happens. But as we sit here and wonder what we do with our lives, ooh, I think there was something better, right? No, there was not. Well, we're gonna take Taki then. Taki. I think she literally hates being called Taki at times. Anywho, moving on, let's move into our... I'm just gonna go with my usual gold chip deck. So, 2 stamina, 4 speed, Kitasan Black, of course, and then Event Special Week. At this point, though, if you don't have Event Special Week, I see that it's perfectly fine to add in the Vodka or Super Creek. If for no other reason for the stamina, skip that. But anything else that you have works as well, if it's especially if it's a max uncapped SR card, but it depends on which one it is. Usually it's going to be like Manhattan Cafe, possibly Hishi Amazon, which is actually a very good candidate, and other stuff. I did not pause for the timestamp, so we're just going to have to live with it. But yeah, I will just rewind to at least close out the topic I was opening with earlier. I did over 300 scouts and not a single Kitasan Black from scouting, which makes me very sad. So, shrug, but again, that's why I branched out into the topic of I am still glad for the SRs that I do have. Now, I'm not going to get to use all of them, and I certainly don't have the Monies or the... I keep forgetting what they're called. Support. I'm just going to call them support points for now, but I don't have the support points to... And certainly not the support points to level all of them up. So I think right now I'm working on Mayano Top Gun, which I did not bring here. So I could turn this into a long... But I really should have brought Mayano Top Gun, but I guess we'll just stick with this for the moment. Because I also have a Teo here, which was supposed to be something else entirely. Either Biko Pegasus or Silent Suzuka. And again, those are not completely proper for Gold Ship here, but it's all I have, and they're better than my Teo here, so... Yep, we'll do our best. So, let's just do Recreation here. And move on. Basically, this is the old deck that I used before I drew a lot of Kitasan Black. Or scouted for a lot of Kitasan Black support card. Or tried to. I should say tried to. That's the more accurate phrase, because as I just mentioned, I did 300 scouts, did not get a single Kitasan Black. I could only exchange for the one I have. And that's the end of that topic. But otherwise, yeah, getting my welfare / shop cards, Haru Urara, McQueen, focusing McQueen as you can see here, pretty much nearly max uncapped. But that's probably going to take another week to 2 weeks at least, seeing how my club points are going. And I am missing club points because currently, this is not a jab or dig at anyone in my club, but our club does not ask for... It barely asks for enough shoes for me to hope that I can max out my club points. But there have been certain days that it that is not true. So I just get really sad. Shrug. But again, that's not a dig or jab at anyone, that's just the reality of my situation. So I am getting about 70 to 100 club points per day, but you really should be getting 100 club points per day through shoe donation. Now, whether or not you'll get club points through borrows is dependent on a thing, which that you can't be too mad about because, well, sometimes you just don't have either the legacy spark for people to borrow your Uma Musume, or you don't have the thingamajig. I need a rest here, by the way. Yeah, we're moving back to my own strat. The Wits strat does work for me, but it's scary for me to get my stamina to 600, which is what I'm using to fish for stamina sparks. Again, my guess characters that I let other trainers borrow is usually focused on stamina sparks. So that is why I am so gung-ho about it. And it's consistent for me for winning URA Championship as well. I am certainly still in the spark grinding phase, and I don't even mean that in terms of, oh, I want 3 stars. I mean that in terms of I need actually at least like 2-star aptitudes in every stat. Not every stat, but it would be nice. It allows me to plan things out more, and that's even only among I forgot what the thing here is here. I'm gonna need to remember this, otherwise I should have probably just taken Practice Perfect. I know a lot of trainers, or I know at least some trainers look down on Practice Perfect. But I specifically try to calculate my energy and training turns. This sounds like an excuse. It kind of is. But I do try to calculate my turns so that Practice Perfect brings me to 0%. Because I am personally scared of the 2-3%. I am personally more afraid of... I was thinking about whether or not I want to do Pace Chaser. I'll do End, Closer. Either one is going to... I thought Pace Chaser would have helped me out because, again, we do have A aptitude and Pace Chaser for Gold Chip here, but I'll stick with A. And for me, I'm in the subset of unlucky people. So even if you were to say, Jordan, you have an A aptitude and Pace Chaser that's more consistent overall, I'm going to bet against myself and say it's not going to be lucky for me because there is always going to be a degree of luck 99.99% of the time when you're racing. So, if that's going to be the case, I'm just going to bet against myself in this specific instance. But otherwise, what was I talking about? Oh my goodness, this is why I'm planning to do a stream. So, I should have actually announced that earlier. Right after announcing the timestamps at the beginning of the video. But yeah, I think I'll definitely plan to do an Uma Musume stream during the weekend. I don't know if it's going to be Friday or Saturday and Sunday, but we'll see. And now I need to rest again. Note that I have not done Recreation again. I probably should have here, so I guessed wrong. I was thinking I was going to get an event, and there are events that are more reliable that can increase my mood like this. I was about to say, I was going to get into the topic of chasing brilliance and that increasing my mood. That being said, my wits is very, very low right now. I do want wits to be at least 300 by the end of the run, but by the end of pretty much Classic Year, I definitely want it to be 250. 250 is that extra little 5%. I think it's at least 5%. I have to calculate it again. I can check right now, literally, as we're autopiloting here, so excuse me for a moment as I also increase my guts. I also personally like to hit guts 2 to 3 times during training, just to put it to an over level. You can go with just 1 guts training, especially if you're training stamina, because stamina, you increase your guts. And meanwhile, let me focus on doing this calculation, though. Oh my goodness, I did the wrong thing. I pretty much have the skill, hey, is the skill going to happen at all during the race calculation in the back of my mind. So 250s, that's 64% if you have 250 wits. And I nearly forgot, compared to 55%, so more than a 5% increase in skill proc rate per each. But that's only in a vacuum of runs because you never know what's going to happen in the race that you're in. Anywho, oh yeah, we're in Hopeful Stakes. I don't need to worry. I'm training Gold Chip. What I mean by that is I don't race anywhere else during this goal here, unless I plan to do the G1 mile race, which I think I could do. I have B in mile, but I do want to increase my stats as well because I think I'm a little, especially with this deck, I'm going to be a bit tight on getting my stamina power and speed to 600. I shouldn't be. I think with this specific deck right here, with the levels that they're at, with the legacies I have, I do think it's possible for you to reliably hit what I just said. Now, can I hit 1200 speed? That's going to be a bit trickier, but I would want to say yes, but I think it's a bit tight. Anywho, we'll do speed training though. Yeah, we'll do speed training. If I were doing longs, I would most likely not be doing 1200 speed. But since I'm doing mediums, I think it is possible, even with this level 30. It's mostly going to be this level 30 Teo. And then I could probably replace Manhattan Cafe here with literally anything else, but that's not what I did today. So yeah, early December I could take the G1, either one of the G1 mile races, Asahin or Hanshin. Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting the names. Anywho. Also note, compared to my recent videos, or at least the last recent video or two, during the extra training event, I normally take the top decision. That's just for Akikawa. Realistically, you should be taking the bottom one for energy. I'm just doing Akikawa things. So anywho. Which basically, yes, that's another way of me saying I'm being less efficient. But, shrug. Now that being said, early on, because your energy means less per point, you can, because if I were doing a training instead of that, or if I were doing that event instead of a training, then you would always take energy. But because it's a bonus event that happens after training, you can take that one. In my opinion, you can take this, the top option in extra training later on. Every girl has a version of that event. It's just that because, in my opinion, at least opinion, because I have not calculated this out in my head, I'm sure the energy one is always going to be more valuable for someone who has a stronger deck. But if you're using like a deck like this with level 30s, 35s here, taking the top option with Akikawa Bond, not for Akikawa Bond, but for the you lose 5 energy but you gain 5 in a stat, you're going to get more stats per energy. That's the end of the sentence. But again, if you're confident in yourself, or you because it's not a one choice fits all situation. Even there will be times in which I take the bottom option for extra training during my junior year. That will be because I'm trying to specifically. In the end, it's going to be a risk you take, but there could be a turn in which you get, say, 4 supports with a 5%, and if you fail that, then you just blow what the statement I said out of the water. But anywho, as we sit here with New Year's resolution, I'm personally going to take the skill point. So the reason I took the skill point there is that even though I won't be taking McQueen or Manhattan Cafe's special perks, I think I'm going to need the skill points. That's my reasoning behind that. Otherwise, I would take energy, but we would have overhealed energy there. So, shrug. But yeah, we have Teo, we have Kikuka Black, and we have... Actually, no, not... Never mind, I don't have any... Actually, no, I do have a lot of skills to buy, because I have to get Gold Ship's unique thingamajigs. And then I also took another look. Yeah, Costa's Clear is pretty much useless. It's important for team trials for the sake of proccing for points, but otherwise, yeah, you don't really need it. My question... yeah, so if we had used Silent Suzuki here, I definitely would have had enough skill points by the time of the next race. That's the end of the sentence. I think I just take wits here. Or I could rest. No, instead I'm going to take power. On the side here, I'm looking at my tulip when the Tulip Show race happens, but I don't need to worry about that because Daiwa Scarlet goes through that herself. So, we're going to take the guts here. Yeah, we're going to take the guts here. And move on with life. Also, yes, in the meanwhile, it's not like I'm not paying attention to content that's made, at least on this platform. But I do pay attention because there are... I mean, again, I'm still trying to learn and reacquire knowledge in my brain. So it would be nice as we get sleep deprived here, and then we get the thing. As soon as I see the mood going down, I just see that I'm going to get Night Owl. So it's time to do infirmary stuff. And that is why, again, it really just depends. I've seen trainers just go through a whole run and never get sleep deprived. And if they do get sleep deprived, it's only once, and it's not the one that gives you... That's really, really bad. But, in my case, yes, I should probably be playing more towards not resting as often and using wits to recover energy, especially since, well, one, we have 3 bonds here that are not at orange yet, but also because I need the wits anyway. Going into the end of your classic year with goal races, depending on who you're training, obviously, because goal races are different and what happens during the career scenarios are different, but yeah, having your wits be this low is not great, especially if you're going to be grabbing rare skills, because as I just mentioned, you have nearly a 60-70% chance with your wits being so low, which results in, well, not very consistent skill proc rates. I should just take the stamina skill because I'm going to be taking Go Home Specialist anyway. Do we even have a... No, we don't. I don't think we do. A single rare recovery skill that we can use for Gold Chip. Unless I become a pace chaser, but I've already taken After School Stroll, or basically the end closer recovery skills, so... Whoops. And was that also on a hill? I forget. Oh my goodness, I'm going crazy. Anywho. Also, yes, there's a lot of... If nothing else, if Future Jordan doesn't put this on the thumbnail, basically there's a lot of nuance in Uma Musume, but there's too much to put in terms of, you know, making a video and stream. Your video and or stream is going to be longer you try to go over these nuances, which is not as friendly for... I'm not going to say new trainers, but it's not as friendly for people who want information in a shorter amount of time. But that's just a trade-off that works both ways. If you want to learn more about Uma Musume, you have to take the time to learn it anyway. So, shrug, you gotta take the time to learn. Although I personally think that a large part of that, we would have overhealed here. No reason to risk the bottom option, which can give you slow metabolism. Anywho. I think there are at least 2 races I can take, and that I normally do take. One of them is, yes, either jab... I could go for... Actually, isn't one of them a mile? I would have missed it, right? Am I going crazy? I might be going crazy. I think I went crazy. Anyway, we'll do Tokyo Yushin again. That's usually what I take anyway. Then we take, not Arima Kinen, Takarazuka Kinen. And not much else to say, so off we go. I was gonna say something, I forgot what it was. Something about nuance and taking time. There is something to say. I mean, I guess you can't... Oh, what I was gonna say, let me interrupt myself, is that I think part of the reason why there's so much information and it's hard to kind of try and make information concise is because we already know so much. Again, for those who don't know, really quickly, essentially, yes, we know a lot about Uma Musume. That's just... end of discussion. Based on previous service, basically... To be more specific, it's because previous servers exist, and it doesn't seem like we're going to be course correcting, fusing, synthesizing the mechanics and information, so a lot, if not everything, can be predicted in terms of the future of Uma Musume on global server. So I'm shrugging in real life as I say, that means that all the information we know is pretty much correct. That comes from basically sources that have been involved with coming up with information from the other servers. So the short way of saying that is we know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. That's your 10-word or less thing. But even that has some nuance because then you have to be aware of where we are relative to where other servers were and be aware of the things that are correct at that time. The simplest example to explain this metaphor, I suppose, is the topic of guts. So guts here means a lot less because we don't have mechanics. That's one of the very prominent examples. But guts will become a lot more important later on, as well as stamina, when certain mechanics are introduced. That's what I mean by certain information and metas are going to... It's not going to... I don't know enough to say for sure. Basically, there will be changes. Also, I just realized that I think I rested there, right? So I can take Takarazuka Kinen. This is going to cut into my summer training, but I like doing Takarazuka Kinen here. Both for the fans and for skill points and for any goodies. Now, obviously, if I wanted raw stats, I would skip out on this training, but as the game thinks and connects for a moment, yeah, it's just what I decided to do. Also for the sake of just pushing myself to 10 million fans, but I need 100 million fans eventually anyway, so hey. Which, if I were to calculate here, especially if I get better fan bonus support cards, theoretically I should be getting 500,000 fans per run. You will certainly be getting a lot more than that if you have the resources to do so, but... because by increasing your raw stats with better legacies and better support cards, you can race a lot more. Heck, there is I think the furthest one is... Actually, I want to do stamina, but this is a speed turn, I guess. I think it's 30 races, win specifically, meaning get first place in 30 races during career. That is the one-time mission, and there are thresholds for each one race, so 27, 28, 29, 30, 26, 25, 24, 23. So basically there are carrots to gain there. It's not the greatest amount of carrots. We need to rest here because I want to do stamina. But or power, either one will help, but I preferably want to do stamina because I'm not going to be getting any more stamina thingamajiggies. If McQueen procs, this will be a good risk. There's no reason to take this risk. I should have just taken stamina, but we're going to find out. Otherwise, I have to do stamina training outside of summer, which is okay for me. In fact, I'm probably around the stamina threshold, considering that I have Go Home Specialist. But then that means I'm relying a lot on Go Home Specialist to be proc. So, To be proccing, that's why I stumbled on my mouth for a moment. But 12%? At least get this one, please. Okay, good. That's a good sign from... That audio file is good from Gold Ship. Anywho. Moving on. Even though that's not... It doesn't seem like a lot of stamina. That's a lot of stamina. So, we'll take a quick look. Probably nothing here. We're gonna go for it. Connecting, thinking. Okay, good. I normally actually don't risk that, but because I needed the stamina, I say I needed the stamina, I decided to go for it. That being said, so yeah, Japan Cup is probably the only thing I want to do after this. There are other G3 races I can take for Carrot's sake, but it's gonna get tight. If I go for... I'm probably gonna do that off recording. Oh my goodness, the game is really taking time to load. Yeah, if I go for G3 races off recording, I can certainly hit another 10 scout. I don't know if I'm gonna get another 200 scouts to get a free exchange, but even if that's not the case, I want the support cards now, so I'll still get a consolation prize. Unless I continue... Well, in another way, continuing to get copies of Air Groove and Meisho Doto and Nice Nature. That specific event will give me cleats that I can use for tickets. Now, it's still a consolation prize. I mean, you would rather still draw whatever you want, in my case, Kita-san Black, but... Yeah, there's not much else to say. Did I ever take Go Home Specialist, by the way? I didn't. Well, hey. And this is not going to be a team trial gold chip, so I don't need to take Coast is Clear, or any part of this series, really. We can also take Standing By, just to give myself more stamina, in case one or the other doesn't proc. That being said, for Team Trials, though, I shouldn't even be taking the rare skill, but I need it to consistently... Or I want it to consistently get me to URA Finals, because there are goal races in between, and if I have to clock, you would rather not use clocks at all, is what I'm trying to say. So shrug. But here's the occasional reminder that, yes, this series mainly... a big part of this series' existence is because if you just want more data from someone who trains Gold Chip a lot, here you go. Shrug! Especially for someone who's going to continue playing Musume, but that's something I can talk about as we actually win by distance there. Is it 12 links or more? I said 10 links or more, I could be wrong. Basically, I'm getting a lot of things wrong, and there's a lot for me to learn. But unless you can convince me that something is at least, at minimum, 85% consistent, I will probably do the opposite at times. Not most of the time, but at times. So, I should really write down things I wanted to talk about, though. But anywho, there was something I really should not... There's a reason why I jot down things in real life, to try and remember things. That being said, we'll take the thing here. So, I'm gonna cross my fingers and hope, as we're doing this on Good Mood, I'm hoping an event pushes me, because at this point, you will be getting mood increases at the beginning of the year. Or there's a good chance of getting mood increases at the beginning of the year. It's not like 50-50, but it's still good enough. I'd say 30 to 40%. On top of all these support cards that can increase your mood, of which I might actually make a choice that doesn't increase mood, but that's me just trying to learn. That being said, I did not take the thing. Oh no, it's here. So I nearly missed the Japan Cup because I was like, late December is Takarazuka, not Takarazuka Kinen, Arima Kinen. So that must, and I know there's a turn in between. That's why I checked there for Japan Cup. But we should be able to win. My guts is a little bit low, but we should be able to win. Never mind, I lied. I could play a bots game based on things, and I know I used the word Batsu in two different connotations, and the earlier one not being correct. We did lose by a length. I'm just gonna assume we got blocked there. I usually can win. That being said, my guts is a little bit higher by that time, so like literally 250 guts there probably would have helped me win a lot. But the same can be said for stamina. So we're just gonna gamble here, and we thankfully spent less energy. Not that it matters. Well, actually, it does matter a lot. Again, I think that's a real 50-50. So for those who didn't see the last video, what I mean by that is after a race, or after most optional races in general, there are two choices. The top option consistently use your energy decreases by the same amount, which is a median of the fluctuation of the bottom choice, which we'll use an example here that's not the exact example. So the top choice, say, always takes away 15 energy. The bottom choice can therefore decrease your energy by 5 or decrease your energy by 30. That's what I mean. So the top option gives you the in-between of energy decrease, But the bottom choice gives you a chance of decreasing your energy by a lesser amount, or can decrease your energy more than the top option. That's what I'm trying to say. Funny enough, I'm gonna watch this, if for no other reason than to add more time between the timestamps. I swear I'm not trying to elongate my time, I'm just trying to see. Although my wits is very, very low for where I'm at. Minimum 300, as I said, minimum 300 guts and the thing, but I think the wits. But I think 300 guts might even be more. I can check this, actually. Because I still have these pages open. Again, I'm doing a lot of, well, I want to do a lot more homework, but I've been doing some basic amount of homework. And by this, I mean, it's last spurt, isn't it? No, it's not. I'm going absolutely I mean, there's nothing happening on screen at the moment, so there's no reason for me to cut back. But, let's see here. So, I thought there was a specific table as well. Well, I guess I can do this instead. So 1, 2, 3, and I'm just going to do this. But, as we actually load into the race this time, we'll let Goldship walk up, because for no other reason, hey, the animations are nice in this game, I'll say that much, but let's see here. I thought this one had the table. Does it not? It might not. I might need to look at something else. And yeah, apparently, I don't know, again, because it's hard to tell, and it's hard to tell for even people who know all the information at times, but yeah, last spurt, there is a calculation for guts in that last spurt speed decision, but I don't know if that's after the first anniversary or if that's been added to global. And that's why I've partly been doing tests early on in Uma Musume just to see if they added things, but it didn't, so. Anywho. It's not in this document. That gives me the direct numbers, but it does not give me the things. So, instead, as we look at Goldship, you know, kind of trying to survive. I didn't even check how many end closers there were. I think we're actually in the middle of some late surgers at the moment. But let's just continue onward. So, for the sake of guts, oh my goodness. I mean, there's only 49 instances of the word guts, and that will tell you which document I'm looking at specifically right now. But let's see here. So, yeah, so for medium races, so as I just mentioned, 300 guts, it's below the quote-unquote requirement, well, not requirement, specific, I'll just read this out loud because we have some time to spare. Each distance has a quote target, end quote, guts. Below this number, each point of guts lost is worth more than losing a point of stamina. Above, in the link to a Twitter post made by a Japanese player, I think, I should really check, but I'm not logged into Twitter on this setup, so it was just brief. Anyway, above, yeah, each point of guts gained is worth less than gaining a point of stamina. Let me repeat that because I flubbered over my words. Above, in the post, each point of guts gained is worth less than gaining a point of stamina at a certain threshold. And I'm just going to skip forward because we're reaching the final spurt. In medium races, I think it's dependent on meters as well, but on average, 320 guts. After getting 320 guts, you're going to be losing more per stat point overall than stamina. But there's nuance here as well, as we are stuck behind Manhattan Cafe for the moment. We're definitely going to pass Mayano Top Gun. Are we going to pass thing? Oh, and there's something I want to note here. So Manhattan Cafe gained endurance, and that's specifically usually HP or stamina, but I don't recall. I remember seeing a line about it, but I don't know if it's already applied in global server right now, or if it's something that's added later. But essentially, there's a recalculation of basically what your girl decides to do based on you recovering or using a stamina recovery perk in the last spurt. But I think that's a change that happens later. I can't remember. But anywho, I mean, I could look right here as well as we start collecting keywords because Goldship is doing some roleplay. But goes to show how much she fools around when she's essentially fooling around while we're doing these serious races. But anywho. Let me take a quick look. Yeah, I'm trying to look at something. So, yeah, if you skip to this timestamp, what I'm going to be talking about makes no sense at all. But I am going to be looking at basically recovering, proccing recoveries, or recovery skills activating at the last spurt of a race. So, if I can find that really quickly. If nothing else, my videos, at least at this point of the series, have become me just literally quoting off of guides, documents, information, other trainers at times, and otherwise. But let me see here. It would be in the last spurt, right? What did we just win? It looked like we just won a bundle of carrots. I can check, but I'm too... I would recognize the sound if he got onsen. But anywho. Yeah, there's Osaka High, and I think that's the only thing before Takarazuka Kinen again. Again, this is my little rotation of races I like to do on average. Yeah, end of the sentence. We're not gonna get a mood increase, are we? I'm gonna be so sad. Anywho. So, yeah, so I'm gonna read off this paragraph as I kind of autopilot. So I'm gonna be moving, I'm also moving my microphone in real life because I'm leaning over, but... so last spurt calculation estimates the stamina usage up to 60 meters before the goal line. The calculation does not take into account the time it takes to accelerate to target speed. If an HP recovery skill activates after entering the final leg, which is different from the final spurt, for the sake of defining terms, yeah, it does not take into account the time it takes to accelerate to target speed. If an HP recovery skill activates after entering the final leg... Oh my goodness, this turn is so terrible, by the way. The last spurt speed and distance are recalculated. I'm going to skip a sentence here. Note that the recalculation was added in the first anniversary, which I assume is a year after the release. We might get it quicker on global server, but you understand the point. And I'll say the whole sentence beforehand, at least if for no other reason than to repeat. We have nothing else to do. No, we don't. So I guess we're gonna just start taking. If we have acceleration perks, that would be nice. If we don't, sadness. So I guess we'll just take Corner Adept for now. I think this is because this is the scheduled race, right? Yes, it is. So if for no other reason than to talk about things, we'll watch this Osaka High, 2,000 meters, and I have things as well. So even before certain videos came out, literally 12 to 24 hours ago, but at the time of this recording or upload, basically, a lot of trainers should have seen basically ways for you to calculate the results of a race. But again, to at least repeat the paragraph really quickly, I'll slow down when we get to the part I haven't talked about yet. So, last spurt calculation estimates the stamina usage up to 60 meters before the goal line. The calculation does not take into account the time it takes to accelerate to target speed. If an HP recovery skill activates after entering the final leg, when the BGM kicks in, the last spurt speed and distance are recalculated. Debuffs, on the other hand, do not trigger a recalculation. Let me repeat the part because I haven't mentioned it yet, and I'm directly quoting the source here. Debuffs do not trigger a recalculation for the last spurt speed and the distance to 60 meters before the goal line. And then ending the paragraph, note that the recalculation was added in the first anniversary. So, yeah, that's not added yet. I assume it's not added yet because based on my own experience and what other trainers have talked about, specifically as it pertains to last spurt and whatnot, here on this platform at least, through stream or video, yeah, this recalculation is not activating. But at a certain point, basically for trainers who are really into Musume, both casually and try hard, basically look at the news and see what is added. The news is important to really pay attention to because what they say is essentially what is going to happen for the most part. I haven't seen many occasions of things actually being bugged. There is, I think, something that was bugged, but I don't know if it's fixed for global server. I think it specifically has to do with the start when all Musume move out of the gate, and also the finish of a race to determine who is first, because there was a weird bug about this is based on me reading things, but there was a weird bug, I think it's even in one of these documents, where you're in first, you are actually in first, but there is a dead heat or two or more girls pass the finish line at the same time, and you were calculated, or the Musume in first did get first, but the game, or basically the determination, says that you were actually second. Which is a bug, and I don't know if that has been fixed here. That would be really weird, though. But that means, again, well, actually, no, I'm not going to say what I was going to say, because that would be incorrect. So, anywho, as we break out towards the outer here, Gold Ship should be able to win. Daiwaskara is certainly not going to hold first, but then there's Teo and McQueen, who is also following in behind, so if either of them gets a speed boost, we could actually lose here. But it seems like we're 99% sure that Gold Ship is going to win here. So, hey, good things happen as we get drop-kicked. So, without further ado, we'll move on. And again, yes, I did use this race to kind of fill in time so I can explain what's happening on screen, because otherwise, I would rather this than sacrifice time, me kind of just sitting on a turn, looking at training, and doing nothing. And we move on. We're definitely going to skip races, though. So again, as always, we're going back to just watching the URA Finals, because anything that happens, like, if you've seen my other videos, you know. But for those who haven't, I'll explain in 15 seconds. as I also pay attention to my inspirations here. Essentially, we have like a 90% chance of winning every single goal race, including the URA Finals. We get long aptitude up, but we're not doing long races at the moment. I should really think about that. I will certainly think about doing that. I'm just trying to focus. My primary goal for this video and training session is me trying to get 10 million fans, which I can get to. I think we're sitting at 9.5 million. Probably more than that. I don't remember my own recent video, but since stamina is more lucrative here than speed, again, just trying to hit the minimum speed, the stamina and power requirements to get 3-star sparks. I'll take 3-star power as well. That'll allow me to start making other girls with more confidence, training other Uma Musume with more confidence. That's the end of the sentence. Do I just go full RNG here? Again, I'm not really getting much else. Yeah, these skills would help out as well, but we're just going to go with the 15%. I don't know if that's 15% for sure, though. I think there can be, is it up to 18 Uma Musume per race? So 6 to 8, so that would be, I have a calculator right here. I don't know why I'm not using it. I like trying to train my own mind, though. So as we enter this 3,200 meter long race, we should have the stamina. If we proc both stamina perks, we should be completely good. If we don't proc both, we could get like second or third. So I guess we're going to find out when we skip this race. As we skip this race. Okay, good. Again, I don't know what happened during the race. All I know is we get first. But as I mentioned before, we should, 9 links. We really just broke out. But we should be pretty confident in winning races. In fact, we probably have like a 95% if I'm really looking things in a vacuum. But again, bad things can happen. So it's not just the skills. We're also relying on our base stats, which should be more than enough. Again, basically, if you've been playing Uma Musume since global server released, you should be in a good situation. Even if all of your cards, like if you're missing things like Super Creek. Now, if you're doing really, really bad, like all you got was Meisho, Doto, Air Groove, and Nice Nature, then it's a bit trickier. But as you've seen from my Wits video, I don't even have the best cards to make a Wits get. I say that, but I have a fully uncapped leveled Marvelous Sunday, and I have a 3 uncapped Diva Scarlet. But, is there something else? No, I don't think there is, right? Let me just check and make sure. I'm always unsure. Yeah, there's Victoria Mile, which I could do, but otherwise it's going to be primarily Takarazuka Kinen, which is our goal race anyway. So I nearly rested on accident. It wouldn't have been the worst thing. Anywho, I forgot what I was going to say. Moving on. Man, I forgot. I was talking about bugs. Oh, yeah, so yeah, the topic of things, but there are mechanics that are going to be added, and that's when I assume that these, maybe some recalculations, unless the recalculation is happening already, because that would be more a technical thing. Again, what I'm trying to say is it would be odd to not fix bugs that were already found in the previous servers. Korea, Taiwan, Japanese for sure. But again, I don't know that for sure, so I would have to look up information about that. I think I'm actually going to take this so I can rest on early June and then enter Takarazuka Kinen and enter the summer training with full energy. This is something very specific to Gold Chip, or anyone really who has Takarazuka Kinen as their goal race in senior year. But you get what I'm trying to say at this point. So, hey... No! It's fine. I'll definitely hit my 600 stamina, 600 power. It's just that I would have liked to try and go for 1200 speed, which is certainly possible, but then I'd have to get really lucky here. Shrug. Did I even get Tokai Teo's rushing? Did I even get Rushing Gale? I would remember that, right? Anywho. Moving on with life. We should be able to win this, by the way. Okay, good. And again, equate from when I say win, I mean get first place, because you can still survive the goal, but that's not exactly win. And when we're talking about horse racing in general, I say winning is first place, right? You don't get second and third place and win unless that's part of your thing. I could gamble again here. I mean, I'm not using skill points anywhere else. Might as well gamble. You can get a positive thing here. Hey, charming, even though we don't need it anymore, actually. Never mind. I thought there was a skill hint that can appear there. Now I just want to check. So self-proclaimed gold chip expert, by the way. But as I check here, as the game loads, not really anything else happening on screen, so I can afford to kind of look over and check. So, we get speed. I'm just gonna force stamina here. There's a chance I don't get stamina if I don't do at least one, so I'm just gonna bet against myself and do that. But otherwise, so after Takarazuka Kinen, yeah. Okay, it's just charming. I'm going absolutely crazy. You can only get charming. I have made a mistake. Because the reason why it's mostly a mistake is because you probably charming. So for those who don't know, I'll just read off this because either in the game or otherwise. So your friendship, you get more bond per training if you have the thing. If you have the charming thing, if you have the charming effect, your bonds increase by more per training. The problem with that is, getting it so late as gold chip here, is that... Hold on. Okay, so 1%. So, just to... At least I caught it on video now. 1%, RNG is real, at least in terms of proc rates in Musume. I held my breath. So this is why I say anything that's not guaranteed. This is why I like Practice Perfect. Do I even have Practice Perfect? I do. So I guess you can say... Now, well, that's counterintuitive to what I would normally want for Practice Perfect, but... Yes, you are valid to say Practice Perfect does nothing. At the same time, this is not the event I would usually want Practice Perfect for. In fact, I would have probably just rested there, but I just wanted to prove the point, just to check. But, anywho, yeah, so Charming, at the later end of... Let me just finish what I was talking about earlier with Charming. So at the later end of... Basically in senior year, you should have all your bonds at max at this point. The only time that's usually not the case, as we take energy here, is that you're basically playing this... It's your first week of Musume, and you have not... or you have not scouted for support cards. Period. That's the end of the sentence. But otherwise, as we move to Practice Perfect there, yeah, so there's one side saying Practice Perfect does nothing. It still has an effect, so both arguments are wrong. But the case there is basically when Practice Perfect, you just hate it. But again, in my case, I would not have taken that Wits event. I just wanted to prove a point against myself, technically, or literally. But otherwise, the actual example is when you are pushing, and I mentioned this earlier in the video, but if you skip to this timestamp for whatever reason, here we go. So the other side of that is that in a situation in which you would have 1 to 2%, if you have Practice Perfect, that pushes it to 0, which is what I want. And again, that requires very fine-tuning, in which pretty much you can say, Jordan, there's no way you could calculate everything to that specific degree because of the RNG involved in training. And to that I say, yes, you're right. But that doesn't remove the fact that there are situations in which when you don't have Practice Perfect, you would be at 2%, but if you had it, you would be at 0% failure rate. So yeah. And if nothing else, that goes into me saying, hey, 50-50, 1%. Because literally, there are going to be... oh my goodness, give it to me. Also in an attempt to get 1200 speed, which I probably will not be able to do, but... as we enter... Especially as we enter Japan Cup here, at least it'll help me be more... We're taking stamina here. At least we're taking more... I forgot what I was going to say. Something. Oh my goodness. Actually, you know, if each one of my... Oh, I skipped Japan Cup. Well, now the question is whether or not I get to 10 million fans. That actually... So, for those who don't know or forgot, or I'll remind you here, as we take energy as well, Japan Cup gives you 30,000 fans for placing in first. That's without considering the fan bonus, which I pretty much have about 60%-ish. It's definitely over half the fans... Yeah, over half the fans. Actually, I can check really here. I'm pretty sure I skipped it, though. Yeah, so unless I take this, but that's... Yeah, that's... I'd rather train. Yeah, we'll train stamina. Just to guarantee we get our stamina to 600 if we clear URA Finals. Again, at this point, I mean, I'm not going to be so quote-unquote humble to say that I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. You can... I think people can learn some things from the trainings I do. If for nothing else, to prove that I know some things about training Gold Cup in particular. If you have me train anyone else like Daiwa Scarlet, Vodka, Major Orion, Winning Ticket, I will be completely in the dark in terms of their events, unless I just stop to look at their events every now and then. But otherwise, I probably could take a skill here. I don't need to, though. We definitely fulfill the stamina requirements. We definitely fulfill every other requirement. So unless we miss every skill use and then get blocked, particularly getting blocked, we should win here. So, moving on with our lives... We're gonna go into URA Finals, and yeah, we should get 600. That's the other big goal, but really I wanted to get 10 million fans, so... I need at least 450,000 fans. That I feel pretty confident in saying, but whether or not I'll get that... I can check the amount of fans I have right now, but I promise you missing my Japan Cup, it was a big hit to my fan gain, so I also apologize in advance to my own club. So, yeah, we can still hit 400,000 fans. No, we can't. I lied to myself. Anywho. Well. We're gonna rest here. Don't get sleep deprived. That's all I'm asking. and we should be good for the finale. But as for what skills I take here, we never got Rushing Gale, so this Tokai Teo support card literally did nothing for me. And unless I'm going to take anything else, I don't think even Uma Stand will help me, so instead, literally nothing else. I could take Iron Will, because at least that still has a chance to proc. So my question would be, is Iron Will gonna be better than The Coast is Clear in terms of actual race performance? Which is something I still need to look up particularly. I basically got secondhand accounts of it, of navigational skills being useless, pretty much near useless, aside from proccing in team trials to give you more points. But that doesn't have to do with the performance of the skill itself. You've heard me talk about before how I believe that navigational skills still provide a bigger effect than near negligible, even though people say it's pretty much useless. That I will quote that directly, and I'm not going to say I don't believe them. If I were advised to not take a skill, in particular that one, then I would say yes, especially as it pertains to outside of team trials. But otherwise, stuff. Anywho, not really much else to say. Basically, yes, I was wrong. If I am wrong about that, and I assume I am. So, moving on. Not that it really affects me anyway, because whether I take a navigational skill or not as Gold Ship, obviously, as you can see, I'm doing just fine with URA Finals. If it's negligible, or if it doesn't have any effect at all, pretty much, then I'm still winning my races. If I am taking it and winning, I'm winning regardless. Like, in either situation, I'm winning here. But if you're trying to go into PvP events, then yes, it does provide an effect. Especially if I had, say, Rushing Gale, and then I picked The Coast is Clear over Rushing Gale, then I would understand why people are yelling at my face. But otherwise, yeah, not much else to say. Yeah, so we're not gonna... Well, here's hoping I have like 9.7 million fans. Yeah, here's hoping. But otherwise, as we move on here... And yes, but otherwise, the phrase is a phrase that I often like to say. I nearly rested there. Also, yes, you can hold, at least on PC, but also on mobile, I've tried this as well. You can hold the button and see who's there. Thank you to that comment. But anyway, not really much else to look at here. I guess we'll just take power. Not much is happening. Now, I should have just followed Kita-san Black. I probably would have gotten more points overall, but it does pretty much, well, actually, it does matter. I'm gonna resign my statement. But, oh, we also have Corner Recovery. I don't think we need it, but I'll just take it. I think I can grab something else, too. Uma Stand, if nothing else. Probably just Uma Stand. Never mind, it's 160. And that's, I think Uma Stand is Gold Ship's own potential perk, or base perk, so that's why it costs so much, because I can't get hints for it otherwise. Also reminded of the existence of the skill hint lottery based on, I think, specifically exclamation mark events, but as we watch this race here, again, still learning things. Learning things and relearning things that it's really not a minority of things that I'm relearning. A majority of things I am just learning and or retaining, so in the process of doing either. Things like, well, examples of things I've relearned as we sit here at a loading screen is the secret event of winning Takarazuka Kinen twice as Gold Ship, so that you can proc the event that I got Charming from, but otherwise, is there really any other difference? I don't think so, right? Yeah, it's still +3 to all stats, still a mood increase, and still 45 skill points. The only difference is getting Gatekept, which does have a use. Again, I've used it to purposely lower the rank of my Gold Ship before, but otherwise not really much else. So I guess to kind of speak on the matter, speak of other things while we're waiting for this race, and Gold Ship is kind of navigating her way, being in 18th place right now, because I assume she's repositioning herself. So there is a correction I would like to say. I did still quit Uma Musume long ago due to losing my data. That is correct, because if you told me to go into my Japanese account right now, I could not do it because I don't remember my link to do so. That being said, there is a video on my channel. You can look it up. I think it's something called like The Ship is Sailing, but if you search for ship, you'll probably find it beneath all the Gold Ship, because I have this series is called Gold Ship Batsu. But there is a short in which I announced why I was stopping Uma Musume content on my channel long ago. Don't hurt me, robots. But anywho, or people, viewers in general. But the reason I said in that video was because I didn't have the time, which is also true. There were there were other gacha games or games I wanted to focus on, just in general, but specifically gacha games. I think I said gacha games or mobile games that I wanted to get into. And so Uma Musume, I said that training took me a lot of time. Really, though, it took me a lot of time because I was trying to translate essentially what was happening in the Japanese server, essentially, because obviously, while I know Japan, I'm not at the level to fluently just, read and say, oh, I know what this is saying when news comes out. Are we going to win here, by the way? No. Agnes Tachyon is going to do Tachyon things. So as we clock here, this is going to be my free one of the day. Yeah, that was a large part of the reason why I stopped playing Uma Musume back then. But now I have a reason to, because now I don't have to... One of the variables, which was the... I guess we'll call the stress. It's not really the stress, but that's the best word I can say at the moment. The stress of having to understand what was going on was a factor of me stopping as well. On top of not having time, on top of just losing my data later on as well. Shrug! It's weird because I don't remember the exact time in which I stopped. Definitely by the time of that video's release, I slowed down or stopped playing Uma Musume. And then after I pretty much, I don't remember my data link, if there were data links. Oh my goodness, Gold Chip doing Gold Chip things. Now it's not going to lose me money in real life for it, but that gets me a little scared. Anywho, I think we were blocked a little bit though, which is why you were also seeing Gold Chip getting kind of blocked here. But I have to look up what navigational skills do, because I believe the sources that come out and say navigational skills are near, if not just useless. But I want to know the reason why myself, and that would require... Actually, again, because I don't think anything I have pulled up talks about it specifically. No. I think they contain calculations for the reason why, and in that case, I do agree. I think based on what I know, it's still not as big as an effect. And specifically what I mean by this, for people who don't know, as we're actually breaking out of the pack, our Gold Ship is that there are calculations here, if I can check. I think I have to specifically look at this. Oh my goodness, I thought there was a specific section for it. I feel like there was. Maybe it's not. Otherwise... So, there's this. So, for those that don't know, there are essentially lane changes, which is correct to think about in horse race terms as we enter the final spurt, and Gold Ship is literally in between, so I hope she breaks out. But there are other things to consider. The acceleration in which your speed is, your speed in general, so that you can change lanes quicker as we are breaking out, but also Machikane Fukuki Taru also breaking out. We should be able to pass Silent Suzuka. I wasn't looking to see if she procced. This is going to be close, though. Okay, good. Looking away. Let's see here. And also looking at overtake targets, but I'm looking for a specific calculation. Because I thought there was an angle calculation in the middle of one of the lanes change calculations, but I don't know that for sure. So we'll get drop kicked here, but I'll take a look again. Because I swear one of these say vision or something, but it's just mostly whether or not an Uma Musume is visible. Yeah, I'll probably have to look for the specific, a specific source. I'm sure there's some out there. I could look on YouTube right now, but I want to look through other things. So, without further ado, as we complete this run, that's my homework for today, if nothing else, between this recording and the next recording, or this video and the next video. By the time the next video comes out, I should have hopefully looked for something specific in particular. If for no other reason, then I train Gold Chip a lot, so it would be important for me to not take for me to know about a skill of the Uma Musume that I like training the most of. But as we complete this career here, I've recently started dividing my career preparation and career end. Career end being the exact, hey, I'm gonna get my thing, because that is quite a bit of things to take. Well, you know what? For giggles, I'm gonna take Iron Will here. If navigational skills are as useless as others say, whether it's a trainer or information or otherwise. And I believe them, again, I believe them. On average, I would avoid taking it. I just took it earlier because I was like, maybe, but no, I was proven wrong. And that's based on my own thing. Oh, yay, we got 10 million fans. So I'll set that as a bonus here to the end of this video. But otherwise, as we get a 1-star stamina spark, would have been nice because we got URA Finale as well, but I think they also have different quotes based on what rank you get with them. So, as we actually break into 10 million fans, and I'm going to change my title really quickly. Yeah, we're going to do... I think I'm also said... Yeah, so we'll do a double bonus here. So we're going to look at... I'm going to show you how many pieces I have for Gold Chip. I think I'm literally 25 pieces away, and I think I've started recently taking just pieces in general from the daily shop. That does cut a lot into your Moni's economy, but at a certain point, you don't need as many of the other things, so really the clock is probably what you should be taking every time, but what we're gonna, star unlocked. So just gonna show you my stars really quickly as gold chip. We have 75 star pieces, and I need 25 more. For me, it's actually just a visual thing, but otherwise, I'm gonna do these titles here. And finally, I've gotten my first gold chip title. So without further ado, let's set that really quickly, and we're gonna move on. Oh my goodness, no! Oh, I have to get it from the. I have to unlock it from the mission report. So as we go to Director Akikawa, so I can get my title officially. Yeah, I guess this is going to be the second bonus. Again, I like to, even if it's just 10 seconds apart, which is usually the minimum for this platform, I like to add timestamps so that anyone looking, it's for convenience. There's no reason not to do it. It literally takes you less than 10 seconds to figure that out. Or maybe 30 seconds, depending on if it's a longer timestamp. But in this case, it's not. So, as I put on my new Gold Chip Fan Club status, our next goal, I think there's like 2 more, yeah. One is 50 million and the other is 100. Okay, never mind. But you get the point. Let's, we're going for it. We're going for it. So without further ado, I think that'll be the end of this video. So yeah, if you have anything to say, if you want to correct me, if you want to give me more information, feel free to do so. I'm open to it because I'm definitely, I'm a glass half full at best. So just learning things. Now, the other question is if I'm going to get 1,500 carats, but yeah, not much else to say. I'm not going to take up much more of your time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. If you want to support me, feel free to do so. If you see any ads, it wasn't me, so I'll see you later. Thank you for watching. Gold Chip, yay!